Why, hey everybody, welcome to my Zombie Land Saga figurine review. Now all I ask is that you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell so that more people can find our wonderful figurine.
What are you wearing?
Well, I'm showing them our Zombie Land Saga figurine for views, dude. We need to get the channel up and going.
Tell you what, how about we get back to whatever the hell this is after we go film a real review of the show?
Yeah, I'll get changed.
Yeah, good idea. You go do that.
Aesthetic pandering is an effective tool at the use of content creators, and one that's not exclusive to shitty YouTubers like ourselves. Zombie Land Saga, in our opinion, is an excellent exhibit of this.
But is that really true? I mean, if we're going to make the accusation of style over substance, that means there's actually some style here, and is that really true? I mean, look at these fucking dance numbers.
Let's not fixate on that just yet. There's a lot of different angles to look at this show from, like the characters and the interpersonal dialogue and the comedy and...
But if the idol stuff is bad, you do have to agree that's a pretty big blow to the show about idols, right?
While I get that, can we at least try to lay some groundwork before we write this one off?
Sure, I can do that. The main thrust here is relatively simple. There's this girl, and she wants to be an idol, but then she gets hit by a truck, and she's brought back to life with a bunch of other girls, and they're going to make an idol group now.
Straight to the point, I guess. Well, what are we as audience members signing ourselves up for when we hear that pitch? We want funny or interesting sequences with them being zombies. We want slice-of-life character drama, and if all else fails, some bomb music numbers. This isn't all that complicated, not avant-garde. There's a lot of star pupils to copy your homework from.
And yet, if you're trying to decide whether or not you should watch this show, I can comfortably steer you away based on the fact that it stumbles at all of these hurdles. But to get any more specific, we're going to have to talk about some spoilers.
Okay, but before spoilers, some formalities. We will not be recounting the plot, as by proceeding, we assume that you've seen the series. The following will be spoiled: Zombieland Saga Season 1 and 2. And our score for Zombieland Saga was a 3 out of 10. Okay, cool. Let's go. Okay, let's start on something we can agree on. Normally, I wouldn't assume that we're going to be on the same page in terms of media interpretation. Something I love could very well be something that you hate, and each viewing is going to be subjective on its audience. Therefore, our intent as critics is to get our message across without mincing words, without any sort of miscommunication, keep that margin to a minimum. But you gotta level with me on one thing. These dance sequences are real bad.
Well, I think most people will agree with this on its face. We'll give two reasons anyway, in case there's some more stubborn members among us. The first is the choreography and theme. While I didn't exactly come into Zombieland Saga with meteoric expectations, for a show about zombie idols, there isn't really a zombie theme to the dancing, which is, the entire premise of the show. Like, Michael Jackson's Thriller, which I won't be showing here for obvious reasons, absolutely oozes style and flavor. But here in Zombieland Saga, we got a dance move that I thought was the robot for my entire first viewing. But it's not all just bad choreography and theming.
Now that you mention that, I think we could have gone the direction of themed idol groups with this show. Like, we've already dismissed Ty's head falling off as a magic trick in an early episode, so you could have their zombie appearance and chalk it up as a stage persona. It could have made the choreography more interesting and brought the fact that they're zombies into the foreground of the show, make it more relevant, and I feel like I'm writing fan fiction. I think this is fan fiction.
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring this back in focus. While the theme, or more accurately the lack thereof, definitely does it a disservice, probably the biggest problem with the dance numbers is the animation. Oh god, what am I looking at? And the worst part is that this CGI Uncanny Valley bullshit is exclusive to the dance sequences. Oh yeah, you heard that one right. The rest of the animation is okay, I guess. But the part of the show that actually matters, the idol sequences in your idol show, are absolutely terrible. I don't want to mince words here. This is the anchor that drags the entire show down with it. Even if everything else were perfect, this would still be the parasite drawing the lifeblood from the draining host.
I do have one big compliment as it applies to the music, and that's episode 2. Kind of as a whole, actually. First, they've got bars. Second, this music sequence is fantastic exposition and character conflict, with Sakura's optimism coming in direct conflict with Saki's pessimism. It's impromptu, it's an appeal to emotion, it's foreshadowed by those dudes rapping in the alleyway. It's awesome. No notes. I was totally hooked at this point.
I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and stay positive for a while? The show's massively supported by Kotaro, and more specifically his voice actor, who's had a frankly prolific career. He brings absolutely all of the good comedy, and in our opinion, is one of the best parts of the show. But we do wish he was written a little better, because he kind of gets relegated to just screaming, but that's a bigger issue with the comedy that we'll get to later.
Sadly, this is an example of the quality we could have gotten. Buckle up. It's time for brass tacks.
Let's get back to the things Lyle listed at the beginning. I don't necessarily want to go down this like a high school essay just to check all the boxes and fulfill the requirement, but for efficiency's sake, we can go ahead and use it as a structure. We already took care of this one, which, thank God, because I don't think I could look at those Lovecraftian horrors anymore, so let's go ahead and talk about the rest of them.
This is a sizable cast. Juggling this many characters in a short show like this is no easy task, so it didn't really come as a surprise when they couldn't handle it. What did come as a surprise, however, was how little effort was put into actually trying. Like, take, for example, Yugiri's backstory, which is uniquely bad.
If by unique, do you mean, why is it here?
Yeah, exactly. A somber story about political unrest and execution, only to be squandered and never brought up again? And it takes 2 full episodes. Why would you divert from the show to tell this unrelated anecdote? And once again, this is 2 full episodes in a 12-episode series. That's a sixth of your runtime.
And this isn't even the case for the other backstories. Ai's previous idol experience shows up when Iron Frill comes around and tries to recruit her, which clearly establishes a competitor to Franceshu.
Oh, bless you.
Shut the fuck up! It establishes a competitor in a way that uses pre-existing information about the character, while Yugiri's backstory doesn't feel relevant and is never brought up again. It feels like just taking an aluminum bat to the knees of what little was left of the pacing. This is a big part of what we mean when we say style over substance. Spending your runtime regurgitating information like a wiki being read by text-to-speech, instead of actually showing anything of consequence. A hollow shell with nothing inside.
And this is a reoccurring theme. Saki's biker gang is similarly a one-off story that kinda never comes up again. Tai is barely given a character, let alone referenced in the show very often, and similar to Kotaro, is mostly relegated to just shouting, but this time with even less writing. And despite all of these character arcs having the same energy as a homework assignment, I still thought giving all of the characters a solo song in the second season was a nice touch. Animation's still awful, though.
And finally, the comedy, which I said we'd get back to earlier. We love Kotaro's performance, but he just doesn't get that many actually good jokes, and the rest of it is just bargain bin slapstick humor that's got diminishing returns at best. But there's one more pretty big problem.
This is going to seem petty, but please let me explain. There's an error in episode 4 where the cast is foot bathing, and critically, their zombie makeup doesn't come off. I know this sounds silly, just hold on. Because a frequent source of conflict in the show is that they can't be seen outside as zombies because they're zombies. So if they were out in the rain, for example, their makeup would wash off, and the problem is this error is something me and Rat both noticed, and the effect was profound.
While this wouldn't necessarily be awful by itself, it's the kind of inconsistency that makes the world, and by extension the central conflict, feel just artificial. I get that not everybody would be as bothered by this as we are, but this seems like a really simple problem to fix. Just taking a magnifying glass to your show once you're done would get rid of it.
Now, I don't want to beat an undead horse. I'm going to go back to my fan fiction from earlier really quick. I just feel like a lot of the events in the show have nothing to do with them being zombies. Like the chicken episode and the episode where they hang out on a snowy mountain. It's just feels strange. Like this plus the aforementioned continuity errors makes the show feel half-baked. Like you could have had an episode where they made a haunted house for money. That would have been cool. Maybe replace the episode where they jump around in mud with that.
Can we go ahead and wrap this up so you don't just ramble on and on.
Oh, and I'm not even going to talk about the part of the show where apparently this group is key to stopping the apocalypse or something. The most generous interpretation is that's a bit silly, but like, if I do have one thing to say about it, it would be something as simple.
Concluding thoughts. Our main issue here is just a lack of substance and detail. And listen, I get it. It's just a cute zombie show about cute zombie girls. Is it really worth this level of scrutiny? Yes, it is. A quick aside. Lyra and I came into this show predisposed to like it. We just finished watching Tatami Galaxy, which is just really... So a quick pick-me-up would have been nice, but that doesn't mean you should throw your standards on the floor. This may just be us, but the show felt corporate, soulless. A transparent attempt to just get you to buy figurines. And just like Zombie Land Saga, this figurine box is all dolled up so that you buy in, but there's nothing inside.